Hello, everyone. Sat Sangat Astrology here in order to explain and give you and share with you my interpretation of the upcoming Capricorn new moon. Although it happens January 11, I'm going to make reference to the astrology of earlier in January and and how this has to do with the new moon in Capricorn, and then I will analyze the chart specifically for the new moon. Now here you have my contact information in case you would like to order a reading with me. You will be very pleased with the ideas that I give you when I do a consultation with my clients. You can visit my social media here in the blog Sat Sangat Astrology blog.blogspot.com. You will find a page where you can see all the descriptions of the consultations that I am able to do with you. And in general, I use several of those different techniques in order to answer your questions. So you can ask a question, and I will use all those techniques and more in order to more accurately address your concern. So don't hesitate on contact me and ask me questions about even before ordering your reading. So without anything else, I will start talking about this Capricorn new moon. It has a great amount of cardinal energy and earth energy, so we can expect dramatic changes to our physical reality. So it is helped in some measure by a little inspiration, Sagittarius and Aries, but also with some water that, you know, Earth is very receptive to water, but the dominant element is Earth. So as I said, this new moon pertains to the physical, tangible aspect of our lives. So one of the things that we need to observe in general terms as well is the great amount of soft aspects. So at first view, this new moon seems to be very nice, very smooth. It looks like it's a great new moon. For most people, it would be. And then we have a couple of very tense aspects, and those are the ones that I would treat first. So if you remember, Pluto was at 20 degrees in 2019. And that was the degree where he went back and forth, of course, as Pluto usually does. And it was also there at the time when the virus started in Wuhan. So we know by a doctor who was a Chinese doctor who was the first one publishing information about this virus. And it's estimated to have come out in some way from somewhere in the month of October. So this new moon is kind of reminding us in some way of the same themes that something is birthing that we may not completely know, since it is very close to Pluto, and Mars is also co-present in the sign. So we can count on something that is birthing, but we really don't see it yet. And is probably related to some themes that were in October 2019. At that time was also an event 200, where representatives of the whole world, or many important countries in the world, were meeting in order to study what would happen if a pandemic hit. So that was October 13 or October 16, approximately. Anyways, Pluto was at 20 degrees that year. Anyways, so we might have some news related to that, or we may discover later on, maybe at the full moon, right, in Leo, maybe we discover something related to those themes. But the other important thing here is that this new moon is square the nodes of the moon in Aries and Libra. So we have this here a cardinal T-square. The opposite is the new moon, and I would like to talk more about this square. We have seen, as I said, I'm going to refer to the astrology earlier in the month of January and even the end of December, because since the start of the year, we haven't seen but death, massive losses of life, dramatic releases of energy, explosions, accidents, higher tides as well, floodings, fires, explosions like an airplane that exploded, earthquake, the earthquake in Japan, accidents and murders and bombings that were unprecedented so far in the war. So all kinds of catastrophes. Now, this is the what is called the moon wobble, and is usually active 2 weeks before the exact square of the sun to the nodes, and 2 weeks after. So we can count on having this if this phenomenon, let's say, this very mysterious phenomenon. If you are not familiar with astrology, it would be mysterious, but astrology explains it very clearly. So we can count on that kind of events that are really out of the norm. And this is called the moon wobble, and some other astrologers call it the moon bands. And it is the time when the orbit, the sun is crossing the orbit of the moon in the ecliptic. And so going from the south node onto the north node is called the north bend. So here we are kind of increasing the energy towards our future. So the sun is activating here. Also, I mean, it's a calculated point. Of course, it's a geometrical point, and it's a square, right? As a square to the nose. But at the same time, the sun, what is doing is squaring all the eclipses that happened so far in the axis of Aries and Libra. And not only that, but it's also activating as the sun is transiting Capricorn, is also activating the eclipses because of the sun's relationship to the north node and the south node in the square, is also activating the eclipses that happened in the Cancer Capricorn axis, which eclipses are related to safety, security, finding shelter, finding refuge, finding protection. So those are the themes of the Cancer Capricorn axis. So all of that is activated by this new moon. And of course, all these events, those explosive events, accidents, and all of that, are threatening our security, our safety. So it's an unfortunate moment in time, but during the moon wobble, the instability is at the highest. And what kind of instability? Emotional instability. So in your personal life, you may feel like uneasy emotionally, you may feel uncomfortable, you may feel on edge, a lot of anxiety, and maybe changing from anxiety to depressive moods, a lot of instability emotionally. So you may feel confused emotionally. What do I feel? I'm not sure. If nothing happens, then that could be the and by nothing happen in your life, what I mean is that if you don't have any planets points in at 20 degrees 44 minutes, then the effect on your life may not be as acute, right? It could be, as I said, this a sensation of uneasiness. But for others whose planets are there, either with the transiting nodes at 20 degrees or by the degree of the new moon, then you can be more affected by this. So as any tense aspect with the moon, then there could be accidents that are completely out of the norm, floods, higher tides than normal, fires, plane crashes, as we have seen a few days ago, terrorist attacks, riots, political upheavals, tornadoes, earthquakes, you name it. It also bizarre weather patterns that are not the norm. So in things in nature could be wrong, especially having this trine with Uranus. There could be something that really it comes suddenly and unexpectedly, and it's something that is completely different from the norm. So and it's easy to accept it because it's a trine with Uranus. However, it could have very unstable because of the relationship Uranian, and this new moon has already, because it is happening at the bending of the the moon bendings, I mean, it already has this Uranian energy, things that happen that are not, and emotional states, mood states that are not your norm. So, okay, having said that, we have the saving grace. As I say at the beginning, we have very nice trines and sextiles. So I'm going to start with Mars sextile Jupiter and, trine Jupiter and Mars sextile Saturn, and also Saturn sextile Jupiter. So we have a small triangle there that is very supportive. And this Mars then could be a stabilizer. And I'm going to give the example of this plane where one of the windows blew off, and with such a luck that no passenger was sitting on those seats by that window. So otherwise, those people would have been sucked out of their seats and die, of course, in the air. So some items like a person's phone was sucked out of the plane, but fortunately, the accident did not happen too high. The plane was just taking off, so they returned almost immediately. Of course, they had to make a U-turn and come back. So it was a tragedy with luck. So this is what I mean by this combination of hard, really difficult aspects and very soft aspects. So we have this little sextile with Saturn bisextile, right? The small triangle that Saturn is supporting, is giving stability and is giving strength, especially considering that Saturn is the ruler of this new moon. So this Saturn in Pisces is kind of anchoring the energy. So even though things may go weird, but this Saturn is helping. So is giving, if you want, is giving delay, is giving us time. Like I said, with this plane, time was playing an important role because the plane had just taken off. So it was, time was the main factor of those people saving their lives. So as I said, time and patience, for example, being patient, being grounded, and being having discipline can help. Having a structure, having organization as well can help in any situation that may arise. Having a plan, organization, and grounding. And if anything else, then try to ground yourself by eating something that is grounding, right? Like roots, beets, or potatoes, yams, that kind of thing. The roots, that food that grow inside, underneath the earth. So those are ideas that you can use in order to ground yourself, to stabilize yourself, because this could be very volatile time. We also have Venus is a trine Chiron. So this is very helpful in the wounding. For example, soldiers that might be wounded, or fighters, or anything that anyone that is fighting for a cause, especially those who are fighting for survival. So this can be helpful. There are millions of people who are refugees, displaced people, and people in very dire straits that can have some benefit from this Venus trining Chiron, because Chiron is representing that survival of life, right? This will to live that is supported by Venus in Sagittarius. So Venus in Sagittarius may also be representing people fleeing, people claiming asylum elsewhere, in foreign countries, and even Venus can represent also their appealing to the law of other countries or international law in order to ensure the survival, for example. And we have Ceres as well, trining the nodes and in conjunction with Venus. So Ceres represents that support for people who need nurturance, and who are also those people who are burying their loved ones. Ceres and Venus can be very supportive. So be careful, as well as last time I spoke about this Mercury square Neptune. So news, communications, correspondence, and conversations, announcements, documents. There might be misunderstandings, there could be misinformation, lack of information, wrong information given, or misinterpretation of the facts. So at this point, I wouldn't advise you to believe the news that you get. Wait until Mercury enters Capricorn, and we will be in more of a solid ground, especially because Mercury will be in sextile with the ruler of Capricorn, his friend, because Mercury works well in Capricorn with Saturn. Saturn supports Mercury in giving it more structure, more foundation, rationality, stability, which Sagittarius cannot give to Mercury. So those are some of the things. Also, the trine to Uranus may help us receive any unexpected events in a more easy way. I would say it doesn't mean that the challenge of unexpected and sudden shocks is not there, because that's what Uranus and how Uranus work, but it could be easier to swallow, let's say. We also have, as I said, the trine Mars Jupiter, and this is potentially helping you take action with decisiveness, with and even a lot of activity. So being very proactive in doing things that can help you. So let me see my notes here. I don't, Okay. So this is also a new moon that is asking for taking responsibility. As I said, applying integrity, especially with the influence of Pluto, is going to be intense, especially once the moon joins Pluto and enters Aquarius. The moon will be right after the let me see what time the moon joins Pluto, is in Central Time. The new moon happens at 5:57 a.m., close to 6 a.m. in Central Time, and the conjunction with Pluto happens at 8:33 p.m. So it is about 15 hours later, the moon joins Pluto. So you can count on having a kind of intense emotional event, or something that will give you kind of a burst of emotional energy. And it could be unstable, it could be very dramatic, in case that this conjunction relates to your chart directly by conjunction, opposition, square. But it is a new moon where you will start doing something serious, right, Capricorn, and something that will take time to develop. So you may not see, as I said, the effect immediately of this new moon. It may take about 6 months to find out what this was all about in your personal life. So certainly it's related to the house where it falls, the zodiacal house where it falls. But you will benefit if you take a better organization in order to make progress in whatever starts. And also applying moral principles, respecting the law, and using strategies. So I wanted to go back to the concept of the moon wobble, or the bendings of the moon bendings, which happen, of course, periodically, because this is the point where we are in the middle of the two eclipse seasons. This moon is right at the middle of the moon, the eclipse seasons that happened in October and that will come in March, April. So this marks the midpoint, and that's another way of seeing why, another reason why this could be so dramatic in many ways. So in order to understand this, we need to consider several events that have been happening historically. One of them was the Chernobyl nuclear reactor meltdown that happened during moon wobble. Another was the 9/11. Another was the Oklahoma incident. Many in history. It was the Challenger space shuttle explosion in 1986, and many more examples of this. So it's calculated, the moon bending is calculated geometrically, of course, mathematically. And it happens exactly every 86.5 days. So as you see, exactly in the middle. So as I said, it's activating the eclipses. If you remember, there was an eclipse at 21 degrees of Libra. So it is squaring that eclipse. And that eclipse, if I remember correctly, was just 1 week after the October 7 Hamas invasion of Israel. So, and it was approximately the time when Israel retaliated. So, as you can see, there could be events related to those. And because, as I said, this is the midpoint and this is the square to those eclipses. So as the sun have been hitting the not only the eclipses that have happened in September, October, but also the points that where the eclipses will happen in April, March, April, because those points are repeated historically. So there are some eclipses that repeat themselves at the same degree. So there is a history in the sky that is written in the sky, literally. And as the cycles move, planets go and hit those points. So the most sensitive points are the eclipse points, the moon wobble, as it is called. So with this, I will leave you thinking about it and exploring your chart in order to discover how this could go. And if you have, as I said, planets near those degrees, near the degree of the new moon, you will probably feel it strongly. So don't hesitate to place your request for reading, a personal reading. Here you have my personal email where you can request and ask whatever question you need me to answer, and I will be glad to respond. So thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.